Brad Stevens is back to work as breaking news is rolling in here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. The Boston Celtics have acquired Xavier Tillman, and they've sent away 2 second-round draft picks. This is huge news to come 24 hours before the NBA trade deadline does pass at 3 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. And I think overall this is an amazing pickup for the Boston Celtics, but Brad Stevens might not be done just yet. So before we break into who Xavier Tillman actually is and what this means for the Boston Celtics, I need you guys to do me a favor and go on ahead and hit that sub button for me, because we are going to be live tomorrow for the NBA trade deadline. And look, we know Brad Stevens doesn't sleep. We don't sleep either. So if Brad Stevens decides to make another trade ahead of that deadline, we're going to be all over it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. I do not want you guys to be the only Boston Celtic fan that doesn't know what the heck is going on. You don't have to worry about it. All you have to do is that sub button, and we're going to fill you guys in. I am Allie Barefoot, the host of Celtics Today. Producer Smitty's right here to my right, and Adrian Wojnarowski did break the news just moments ago, saying the Memphis Grizzlies are trading Xavier Tillman to the Boston Celtics for 2 second-round picks, sources tell ESPN. Now, this is a 2027 second-round pick via Atlanta, and this is a 2030 second-round pick via Dallas. This is a phenomenal trade for the Boston Celtics to make, because no players have to get cut. They don't send anybody away, and they're going to really hit a lot of their necessary needs heading into the playoffs with a trade like this. He is a very cheap but very good rotation piece the Boston Celtics can use immediately. Because like I said in the past videos, they're not looking for anybody to replace the starting 6 starters. They're looking to improve the bench. And I think Tillman improves the bench. Let's break it down just a little bit more here. Bobby Marks did tweet this out, saying that Tillman was also on an expiring $1.9 million contract. His salary will go into the Justin Jackson traded player exception, which I know a lot of Celtics fans out there forget that the Celtics even had, because it was such a small TPE. The Celtics will inherit his bird rights and can sign him in the offseason despite their financial limitations. Boston had 8 second picks available before this trade. And don't panic, they still have plenty of more trades available, and I can tell you about that, draft picks available. I'll tell you about that a little bit later in this show. But first and foremost, the reason why we have Celtics Today is so that I bring you guys the facts, I show you guys the stats, and then you guys give me your opinion. One word reaction to the Tillman trade, I'm just going to go solid. A solid pickup for the Boston Celtics. Does this push the needle? It has yet to be seen, but I think the fact that he can play 25 minutes night in, night out is solid for Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics to make this move 24 hours before the deadline has even happened, and it might not be over yet. Go on ahead and comment your one-word reaction to the Xavier Tillman trade. And before I can go deeper into who Xavier Tillman even is, I have to give a huge shout-out to the sponsor here on Celtics Today. Of course, it is Prize Picks, and this just makes having daily fantasy so much more exciting, because all you guys have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. The best part is Prize Picks constantly has deals out there to almost help you win money. Right now, they do have 99% off total passing yards for Pat Mahomes during the big game. If you think Pat Mahomes is going to have more than 1 passing yard, go ahead and hit that more button, because it's almost a guaranteed win. And then I have Christian McCaffrey having more than 90.5 rushing yards. This is a big game. I have a feeling he's going to be ground and pound, but the Chiefs running back will have some answers. There's a reason why there's a demon next to Isaiah Pacheco, because demon means harder pick, bigger payout. A Green Goblin version of him means easier pick, not as much of a payout, but it's a guarantee almost win. I went on ahead and pick more for all these picks. Life's too short. I always go the more, but you can copy these picks or you can make your own. Just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100, and you're going to be able to watch yourself win some real money in real time. Let's break down Xavier Tillman's stats throughout this season, and let me tell you this right off the bat, this is not going to be flashy. We were never supposed to get a flashy player, but 6 points per game is fine. 5 rebounds is excellent. 1 block per game is incredible, and then 40% from the field is absolutely fine, considering that he plays 20.6 minutes per game. But he does a lot more off the box score. He's been known to show up against other bigs, and he's definitely got some time in playoffs that underneath his belt, which extremely helps. And he can match up against bigger wings on the perimeter, which is huge. And if you look at his career stats, he's obviously getting better throughout the years. And this is just overall a huge win for the Boston Celtics, who have already been doing pretty much everything this entire season. He's an excellent defender. He's a solid rotation player, and he's a great player to fill that last spot. Like I said, he can defend all 5 positions. He is dominant in steals and blocks, especially with 5 rebounds per game. That's really going to help the leader, Jason Tatum, clean the glass. We've seen O'Shea Brissett wiggle his way into the rotation by cleaning the glass. It's going to make a difference primarily on defense. If Xavier Tillman can add on a couple more points when he comes off the bench, I'm obviously all for that. But here's a stat I found on Twitter when this news broke, and I thought it was extremely interesting, so I'm going to break it down here for you guys. Xavier Tillman is one of 14 players averaging at least a steal and a block, but he's the only player to do so while playing under 25 minutes per game. That's what you're requiring Xavier Tillman to do. Play 25 minutes or less, night in, night out, especially when Joe Mazzulla has love sitting Al Horford or Kristaps Porzingis every other game. Well, now you're going to add a 4th big man into that mix. So you're not going to have to play Kristaps Porzingis when he's still trying to come back from an ankle injury because Luke and Al Horford are hurt. Now you've got Xavier Tillman that you can rely on, as he's been in and out of the starting lineup and the rotation pieces for the Memphis Grizzlies over the past 3.5 years. Like I said, not flashy stats, but just enough to push the needle for the Boston Celtics bench. So overall, I got to ask you guys, grade the trade for Xavier Tillman. Honestly, I don't see a fault in this trade. I'm going to give it an A- just because I haven't seen it work in person yet, just because I haven't seen Tillman on the floor with the Celtics yet. I can't give it an A+ if I haven't seen the guy play yet with the Boston Celtics. So give me an A-. I think this is huge. You don't say goodbye to anybody. You say goodbye to 2 second-round picks, and you bring in a big man. I love it. And Brad Stevens knows that there's still more on the table. Since they used the Jackson TPE and only 2 second-round picks, the Grant Williams $6.2 million TPE is still available. And the trade deadline isn't until tomorrow. Brad Stevens is a genius. I fully agree with that. And plus, this was a great move to fill that final roster spot. However, Brad Stevens is going to have to be a GM, an all-sense GM, in the sense that if he does want to add one more player by the NBA trade deadline, which he obviously could with the $6.2 million TPE, somebody's got to go. But that's not saying Brad Stevens will do this. I could see him possibly just getting rid of the TPE to really make sure the Celtics win Banner 18 this year. Like he said earlier, I will go at no expense to be sure that we win this year. And there are still some Boston Celtics needs that can be addressed while the trade deadline is still present. However, Tillman does address a lot of these things. He is a rotation piece. He adds injury insurance to the big man position, and it provides a little bit of wing depth as he can play the forward and center position. But overall, there are still players out there at least worth $6.2 million if he really wants to make a splash. And you really want to make sure every single Boston Celtics needs is met, because personally, I think Peyton Pritchard has been inconsistent this season. If they could go out and get another backup point guard, that'd be huge. But I think the big man position, the front court especially, was dire for a pickup. Tillman will be a free agent in the offseason, which is okay. Like you guys saw on Bobby Marks' tweet, is that they will have the bird rights to be able to own him in free agency and have to dish him out in whichever way they see fit. So Tillman will be a free agent this offseason. They will have the chance to re-sign him if they do think that he did great this past season, but it has yet to be seen. Overall, the Celtics do still have plenty of assets, and that's what makes me so excited for the Boston Celtics. $6.2 million TPE, 3 first-round picks, which is huge because most teams that have anybody worth noting, worthy of a trade, wants a first-round pick. And then, like we said earlier, they had 8 second-round picks before the Tillman trade. Now they have 6, which is still plenty in order to make a move happen. So my question to you guys is, should the Celtics make another move before the deadline? That is tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. You guys are not going to want to miss it. Go ahead and comment down below if the Celtics should make another move before the trade deadline. Go ahead and drop a name as well down there below if you guys know a player you want the Celtics to pick up. And while you guys are doing that, let me remind you, we're going to be live tomorrow for the deadline. We are going live at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are not stopping until Brad Stevens stops, which we all know that could be a very long time. We want you guys to come join us. We want the Celtics Today faithful to come see us during the day, not during the night, normally for a watch party during a Celtics game, but we'll be live tonight, and we're going to be live tomorrow. Let's have a good time. All you guys have to do is hit that sub button.